G'day everybody, how are you? Hope you're doing well. I'm going to just have this session just for a couple of people. It was a very targeted webinar. Thanks for attending. I'm not too sure. I'm hoping that you guys can see my screen. Basically got a Q&A section and also a chat section. If you can post any questions you have into the Q&A section, please. And I'll respond to those. If you guys just start a discussion here. Okay, if somebody wants to just type into the Q&A just to test that for us, that'd be great. All right, cool. Okay, we'll get started. Thanks very much for joining. Today we're going to be talking about Exclaimer, which is the signature software. A couple of you are actually looking at it at the moment, and what we're actually going to demonstrate here is basically the advantages of having some signature software, but also how to basically do a very basic signature as well, and how to do rules and things like that as well. So we'll get started. Okay, the big thing about email signatures is the ability to be able to control all your users' signatures and standardize all your corporate look within the business. So whether you're sending from an iPad, an iPhone, an Android phone, or Windows or a Mac computer, your signatures will be exactly the same. So the advantage you have there is it can all be controlled from head office or the main office, and basically also be customized to send out different signatures in different days. So for example, we hit Christmas, we can basically provide a different signature over Christmas, also explaining our holidays, and it can automatically revert back to the standard signature after Christmas is over. And I'll give you as a demonstration on that a little bit later. So just the agenda today, we'll just do a few introductions. I'm guessing the people that are actually on this call know me, so I won't bother wasting your time on who I am. We'll review your existing situations and how you're currently managing your email signatures. What I'll do is I'll actually allow you to, I'm just going to allow your mics through so I can see you both are muted at the moment, but if you do want to speak, just unmute your microphone and just talk. Please interrupt me at any time. Like I said, it's only a small group. And we'll do a platform overview. We'll go through some configuration options. I'll do a live demonstration, set up an onboarding, and also some pricing for you as well. Okay, so the big thing with signatures is they can be very time consuming, especially if you've got a lot of staff turnover or numbers of staff, or you do want to change some information. So as simple as an office move or a phone number change or even a departmental change, there's a lot of time wasted in creating signatures. And if that person's got multiple devices, which most people do today, it can be a real headache. And the also thing is the standardization as well. Disclaimers, you can install disclaimers within your signatures if you wish. Some companies put their disclaimers in their emails depending on, it could be coming from a sales department, for example, or an engineering department. They may want to have a disclaimer, whereas if it's coming from accounts, we can admit that disclaimer. So we can even set up disclaimers based on rules. Your branding, basically the consistent signature branding is so important. I often see customers where they don't use something like Exclaimer to do their signatures, and what will end up happening is they have one person with a logo that looks different to the next person. Basically, you can also use it for engagement, and that is basically you can have links within your signature to do your marketing. It could be surveys, it could be a product that you're promoting, or it could just be notice, for example. for example, office closed and things like that. And signature reporting, such as basically who's getting the signatures, who's not getting the signatures. And there's two ways of developing and deploying those signatures as well. I'll go in again in more detail. There's server side and then there's client side. The real main difference between the two is on a server side, users cannot see and they cannot control their signatures at all. Client side basically means that they are pushed a signature to their Outlook, and they can alter that signature. They do see the signature as well. And I'll give you the advantages and disadvantages very shortly. So some of the challenges without signature management are going to be like employees, like I said, consistent signature branding, where they will have different fonts, different logos. They have different, content and things like that as well. So what a lot of companies will do is they will email somebody and say, hey, this is our new signature. Can you paste this into your signature box? And it's also employees having to do, the management of their own signatures. The other issue you've got with that as well is a lot of the HTML signatures that we do use today, where we want them to look pretty, will not work in things like iPads and iPhones, for example. So when somebody is sending an email from an iPhone or an iPad, often more than not, it'll just basically say from my iPhone or iOS device or something like that. Again, compliance and legal risks for some organisations, e.g. lawyers, etc. Having those disclaimers missed is a problem, and being able to change those signatures for the user as well. There's a lot of people that are not computer savvy, and obviously, it's easier for them to just leave a bad signature than play around with it and make a mess of it. So these are some of the things we just went through, but boosting campaigns is one of the big things. Using banners in your signature, you'll see some of our clients, for example, we actually supply this signature software to some small organisations, but we also supply it to larger organisations like Kia Australia. They have most probably about 15 signatures, depending on which department, whether it's sales, whether it's service. They have different promotions. So, for example, they may have a promotion that only the salespeople want to send out, not the service people. But there also could be a service special. So they have a different banner for the service people as well. And just notifying your clients through signature and through marketing is a lot easier using a product like Exclaimer. Okay, so what you'd actually do is you'd create a template using your brand assets. You would then put in your promotional content, schedule these signatures, target your audience, and then basically create a report on your effectiveness of your signatures as well. So a lot of people will do a signature and they will have links in their signature that could take them to a landing page on their website, for example. What will happen there is you won't know, unless you're using Google to then track your signatures, which most people don't. It's very difficult to track who's clicked on what links on your actual signature as well. So when you're doing promotional content on your signatures, you can actually do a lot of that tracking within the system. So it's completely seamless on the server side. So this is the 365 server-side configuration. Now, this is how we would actually set up 95% of our signatures. We've got one customer that's got about 1,200 seats. They're an NDIS customer. They want their staff to be able to edit their signatures before they send out. They want their staff to see the signatures, so they do what we call client side. So the advantages on the server side is, like I said, it will send out on all devices. So what happens is you'll send an email out. It'll look blank, like no signature. It'll just say like regards Mark, for example. Microsoft get it. They then send it to Exclaimer. Exclaimer will then sign it and then send it back to Microsoft to actually go out to the actual customer with the signature appended to that. So even though there's no preview while you're composing, rest assured that the outgoing email will have a signature on it. we can set up rules as well to say, for example, if you're emailing within the same organization, don't display the signature. If you're emailing, like we've got a client that's got crazy signatures, we've actually put into their Exclaimer that when they email us, don't give us their signature because we don't want all their junk. So there's a lot of things that you can actually do from the server side. So like I said, it doesn't matter what device you're emailing from, as long as it's going through your company email address, that signature will be applied to. So on the client side, like I said, the big difference is the customer is going to see, or sorry, the end user or your staff member will see the actual signature in their mailbox. So what will happen is in the signatures of your Outlook, where your current signatures are, the Exclaimer will push a new signature into that and default it. We can even do things such as disabling the signatures, etc. The other advantage on doing client side is you can do deduplication. So for example, it can only do one signature from the actual Outlook. If a user was to create their own signature in Outlook and then send it via Exclaimer on the server side, they would get a double signature. However, that said, once we deploy it, we just email all your staff, or you email all your staff and just say, please remove all your signatures. There will be a new signature already appended to it. So that's how you get around that, and it's pretty straightforward. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to give you a quick demo because I know your time is valuable and won't waste a lot of time with this. So when you log into Exclaimer, you will actually see this particular window here. It's got some really good introductions, some videos, how to do things, etc. However, Sterling IT is here to help you, so don't ever hesitate. We'll actually help you do your signature, your basic signature, and then if you like, you can then go through and do more from there. So there's a few things here. You've got your subscription. This is basically where you can actually add extra staff members. And, you know, if you're the person that's doing your signatures, updating your signatures, and, you know, there's nobody else in there, there would just basically be yourself who would actually be the admin, editor, and auditor, and the user manager. We've got clients, like I said, much larger clients where they have people just doing their signatures. So like, for example, marketing departments, they would actually just have editor access. So what that means is they can go in there, edit their own signatures, and then basically that's it. They can't go in and do any administration on the account. So it's quite flexible in the respect of different people can have different user access for this. Then you've got your user data. Okay, so how does Exclaimer get its signatures? It actually pulls the data from Office 365 or Microsoft 365 or Google, okay? I won't talk about Google because we've only got 2 customers using Google and they're not on this course, so I'm not going to waste everybody's time on Google. But in relation to Microsoft 365, whenever you set up a user account, you basically have the options of putting in addresses, phone numbers, mobile numbers, photos, and even additional attribute information as well. So what that basically means is your signatures then basically get pulled out of Microsoft. So there's only one place of where you need to actually have that information put in. So when a new person starts, as long as they've all got that information in there, their signature will automatically be created without any setup or whatever, unless you've actually got group set up. So if you've got specific group set up to say only these people have this signature and these people have this signature, those new staff members would have to be put into that particular group. So if I scroll down here, for example, we have things like user details. So what we can actually do here is we can even have what we call custom attributes. And when we sign into Microsoft, I'm logging in here as a user as Mark Pace. I can customize my attributes. And again, not many customers do this, but it is available, where I've got in here in this field, working hours, okay? So when you look at our signature, there'll be a field called user defined 1, and that's our working hours. I've got clients that use the field, I can't remember what it's called, but they, them, him, her, whatever it is, they actually want that on their signatures. So we've created a user field so they can actually go in there and do that. Now, if you have a look at this, all this is grayed out because on the security perspective, I've blocked everything out so no user can go and change anything except for these two fields here and their mobile number. That said, you can actually give users full access to change their addresses, their telephone numbers, their names, everything else as well. So, but in most cases, we just give them access to the user-defined fields. And I'll go into that a bit more.
Mark, the screen is frozen.
It's frozen?
The shared screen is frozen.
Oh, no. I'm on the wrong screen. Sorry.
Yeah,
thanks for that.
There you go. No worries.
Jeez. Okay, I wish you grabbed me a bit earlier. Sorry. Thanks, Ty. Appreciate it.
Yeah, send it to the chat.
No, that's right. Let me go back to the start, okay? So that way you guys can see. Can you see it now, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
I sort of understand, but anyway.
Yeah, no, that's cool. All right, so on this, basically that was, like I said, the main screen. On the configuration, you've got the managed subscription. This is where I was saying that you can do the user settings. You can create a new user and then basically give them either editor access, user manager, or whatever. Luckily, we didn't get too far into it. So then down here, this is where I was talking about it creates a URL, and we just send this URL out to all the staff and say, if you need to edit the contact details, you see this, and basically user-defined field. So like I said, this is classed as our working hours. So for example, we've got some staff that work from 8 till 4. We've got staff that work from 9:30 to 5:30. And then there's people like myself that work virtually 24 hours a day, but I do put in 8:30 to 5. And then you can create this field. That's the one I was talking about, him, her, whatever. You can create additional fields as well. As you can see, it's all grayed out, and the reason for that is purely because of the restrictions on the security. Some of the other things too are photos. Some people like photos on signatures, some people don't. As you can see here, we've got some users with photos. As you can see, we've got different domains in here with different email addresses. So for example, that's a Pace ID email, but there's my Sterling IT email, different photos. And these are photos that are actually, you can upload them from here, or they can be pulled down from Microsoft, okay? So what I've done in this particular case, some users didn't want their photos in here. So what we've done is we've not enabled Microsoft user photos. In other words, pulling it out of Office 365. We've just uploaded the photos in this particular area. And then we've got, different photos in here. So, okay. So manage flow. Okay. So this is more of the configuration. I won't waste time on this, but this is where we do all the configurations. We've got the Outlook signatures, again, all technical. I won't sit on this. Nobody's got an on-premise Exchange server anymore, so we don't need to worry about that. You can integrate these now into LinkedIn, Facebook, and Salesforce for people that are using those. Where that comes in handy is you can actually have social feeds going into your signatures as well. So if somebody was, say, on LinkedIn and they were posting things, say, for example, once a week on a LinkedIn, and you're talking about the business or what have you, they can actually be imported straight into the signatures live as well. So as they change on LinkedIn, we can actually have the signatures change as well. Audit logs is going to be for all the changes that have been made. So if the signature goes wonky and we go, well, who's changed that? We can find out who that was based on their login. Branding, again, you can upload all your logos and things like that as well. So they're stored within the system. So if you're doing multiple signatures, rather than having to upload the signature every single time, you can basically just upload it. It stores it basically in like a repository. So then when you're creating a new signature, it's there. You don't have to go look for the signature, for the logos, and have to re-upload them as well. Where this can come in handy as well is, You could have marketing, for example, doing the banners or doing the icons or the logos. They can upload them, and then somebody else can actually do the signature as well, and that's where that comes in handy. Okay, so this is the fun part, the signatures. So I'll just see if I can make this a bit bigger. Hopefully everybody can see that. This is our old signature here. We call that the Sterling IT default signature. As you can see, it says not applied. We're not basically using this one anymore. This basically had our old logo, so we've actually done our rebranding, and we've basically moved into this new logo here. So if I just take a quick look at this particular logo here, the first one where it says new logo signature, the way the signature works is, and the way Exclaimer works, I should say, is it imprints this signature based on, does this get applied to a particular person, yes or no? Okay, even if it's yes, do I continue? Yes, then it comes here, and then it goes, that's disabled, I'm going to go to the next one. Is this one available? So this one's based on time and date, okay? So again, this is Christmas time, I'm not going to apply this. I then come down here and then go, okay, this signature, this one's not applied. But if this was applied, this would be appended underneath my main signature. So this could be advertising. So we were using this to do with Australian cybersecurity and NBN. We were doing a bit of promotions. So we just enabled that and it appended that. So we ended up with basically our main signature and then this underneath it, which had some hyperlinks, etc. What you'll also notice too under senders is we have multiple domain names and we also have a ticketing system as well. So what we're basically saying is if anything's sent from our secondary domain pace.id.au, don't apply. If it's sent from our ticketing system, don't apply. If it's sent from Sterling IT, apply it. So you can say people, and I'll go into more detail in a sec. We say that it's always active. We've got specific recipients and we've got advanced rules. So how do we work that out? So what we do is we go into and we say edit design. Okay, and this is our signature here. So this is what we work with. It's all based around boxes and things like that. So there's a lot of things that you can actually put in here, whether it be a banner, a rotating banner. So rotating banner would be you have 3 or 4 pictures, and then based on how you want to display that banner, for example, you might say every email change the picture, every day change a picture, every hour change the picture. So that person could have multiple advertisements, for example, happening on their signatures as they go along. You've then got like little icons, okay? So, if I wanted to have an email icon, I could just click that, drag that, and that would actually drop that in there. If I wanted to have calendars, so I don't know whether some people have seen that or not, where Microsoft or Calendly, where customers can actually book time out with you. You can actually just drag that in here and then put that wherever you want. So as you can see, as I'm dragging, it moves it around of where I'm going to drop it. It asks you what's my URL. So when you set up a Calendly or a bookings.com, and not bookings.com, Microsoft Bookings, you would put that URL in there. That's the text the customer sees. And then what do you want it to be? Do you want it to be a link, a light button, or a dark button? And then it will create that for you. So it's very customizable. That was that little icon that I put in there, which I will click on and say delete. QR codes, some people work with QR codes as well, and also feedback. So you can actually do thermometers. So sometimes people will actually say, give us customer feedback. So I could just go in here, drop that, and says, how easy is it? Or you can put your thermometer in there and it will drop it in there, or you can just do a survey. And then when customers click on that, it'll be tied to this particular person, and then they will get feedback, etc. as well. Okay, so some of the things that you'll see on my signature is I've got a photo. Okay, if I click on this photo, there's a real important feature called visibility. And what it's basically saying is, if there is no photo, hide it. So in other words, just move all this to the left and basically hide it like there was no photo there. Where this comes in really handy is, see how it says my working hours? Now, most of my staff haven't got their working hours in there. So again, when I click on this, it says, go visibility. Okay, it says only visible when the user defined field is not empty. So that, remember I showed you this field here, and I've got something in there. The reason for that is because it's doing that. Now, if I remove that, I'll just cut that and go save. Don't know, I'll just try and do a refresh. I'll see what happens. I haven't done this before. Okay, see what's happened to my signature now? It's actually removed the whole line of my working hours, and it's kept it nice and clean. And the reason for that is because it's saying that if there is no defined field, remove it. So you don't end up with half boxes or boxes that say my working hours is, and then it's blank because somebody hasn't put it in there. So it's really good in the way that it can actually show data. And all this data here is Microsoft 365. It's just Exclaimer pulling it from Microsoft 365. So again, I'll refresh this page. And that should put it back there. Okay. Now, as far as the layouts and things like that, you basically start with just an empty box, and then you can just start inserting things. For example, if you want social media, you can run a social media strip, like we've already got one there. But if you do that, it'll say, okay, put all your information in there. So I can just say ABC company, ABC company, ABC company. So these will be all your URLs. Okay, and then when you hit OK, it throws a whole strip of social media icons there. Okay, it's really as easy as that. Now you might turn around and say, so I click on this outer box and I say alignment, and I say I want it in the middle. Okay, so horizontal, center, and it puts it in the middle of this box. If I want it to the left justification, or I could even say stretch, and it stretches it across. So it's really, really simple on how to do things. Padding is basically spaces around it. So when we say all, that's all four sides. So when I start to pad it out, you'll notice that it will actually start to space, if you can see that. And does it really, really easily. If you just want space on the top, left, right, you just untick this and then just adjust these as need be. Okay, so I'll click on that again, delete. Okay. If you look at our Facebook icon, for example, you get a hyperlink. That's the Facebook icon that takes you there. Twitter, again, hyperlink. We just put that in there. So these hyperlinks would be whatever your company URL is for the social media sites. If I just get back in here. Okay, I just won't save that. There's a lot of other fields you've got. With personal fields, again, what you can actually do is just drop them down the bottom, and then you can basically find what you want. So you've got these little pictures, so you can say, well, I want that to be a phone number, mobile number. Well, there's your mobile there. But you get the gist. And then you can basically just put all these in there. You can have them as single line, multi-line. So if you put single line, it'll be your mobile, comma, this, comma, that, comma, that, comma, if you have a comma here as a separator, or you can use dashes like that, or you can put them into a table. So there's all different ways of laying that out. Does anybody have any questions on the fields as such?
Oh, but it looks easy to follow. Huh?
Sorry, what was that?
It looks very easy to follow.
Yeah, it is. It's once you start to understand, we're talking about a cell. So for example, if I talk about this signature, and if I want it to the left, I'll go to alignment and I'll say left. It's as simple as that. So it is quite straightforward. One thing I really love is the visibility, and people don't use that because what we're basically saying is, if the mobile number is not empty, then make it blank. So if you're emailing out of our accounts folder or our orders folder, it doesn't have a photo because orders doesn't have a photo. It doesn't put a name because there is no name there. And basically it just is a signature that basically just has our phone number, email address, and that's basically it, and our logo. So the signatures will be customized based on the user and the amount of information that's actually in the user. So when we go back to the signatures, the other thing that's really important is the who's going to get it, who's going to see it, when do you want to display it, and things like that as well. So for example, senders. We'll basically say we want everybody at Sterling IT to use this signature, okay? Now, we haven't ticked everyone, and I'll show you in a second why. So what we're saying is everybody at Sterling IT. If I select everyone in my organization, that's going to add my other domains as well, and I don't want my other domains as well, okay? So for example, if I use both of your companies as an example, you could have, actually, I won't mention your companies because I think you might be even competitors, but if you had, company A doing, let's say, car servicing and company B doing car sales, and they could be different signatures, for example, you want to basically have a signature based on each domain name. So, for example, we're saying just Sterling IT, but what we're also saying is if it's the ticket system, if it's these two people, okay, or anything from this domain, do not attach the signature to, okay? Then we're saying from a recipient, send it to everybody, okay? You can have internal only signatures and you can have external only signatures, okay? But what we're saying is we send it to everybody, but not if it's going to Sterling IT and not if it's going to our ticket system. So we basically say, do not put the signature on that. Okay, so you can do that. So if I've got, for example, yourselves where we don't want to see your signature and we were setting up your signature, we would add Sterling IT in there to make sure that we don't see your signature. So what I'm saying is you can do it to third parties as well, and what have you. So that's basically saying do it to everybody, but exclude these. Okay. The rules for this are very flexible. If you do use Salesforce, you can actually integrate into the CRM for Salesforce as well. Date and time is another important one. So when we know that we're going to close for Christmas and we say we're going to close on the 20th of December this year, what we will say is on this date, on the 20th of December, okay, at 12 p.m. because we close at 12, okay, and then we want, sorry, this is the reverse. So this is the start date. So what we really want to do is actually make that into January next year and then end in December. So we want to actually do the reverse. And then what we do is we have a second signature, which is our Christmas signature, and say start that on the 20th and finish that on whatever it is, the 5th of January or what have you. So what happens is we don't physically need to change the dates for the signatures to happen manually. We can actually set the dates so they change overlapping. So for example, we'll say at midnight, turn this signature off, and at midnight, turn this signature on. So if anybody comes back to work and they start emailing, that signature is no more displayed. It's just the standard signature again. Advanced rules, really important that if people have information on there, you can actually have it so it doesn't display a signature. So for example, see how it says T123? If I was to email anything out and it had the words T123 in it, it will basically not process the signature. So you can put in special codes in your emails, what have you, and then it will actually not display the signature. The other option you got is, again, the flexibility is only add the signature if it has this in the subject. So you can say, send this to everybody, allow it to go to all recipients, but only if it has this particular code in the signature. Where this can happen is, let's say you're doing a quote. You can have a separate signature to do with the quote, and it could be a disclaimer, it could be something like that to say, if the word quote is in subject, then add the disclaimer, okay? And that's where it becomes very, very powerful in doing things like that. And obviously, you turn it on, turn it off, and you can basically disable the signatures from actually happening as well. So we use, like I said, server side in most cases, because it will do your mobile phones as well. And I think most people realistically today would send, I would say, at least 30% of emails or 20% of emails out by their mobile devices today. So it's really important to actually have that signature on that mobile device as well. So let's say we had the date and time enabled, and we went back to, let me just double check. Yeah, I just want to make sure I didn't save over our legit signature. And let's say this one's disabled. I can actually even move this and move it into an old archive, for example, so I don't even see it anymore. So these are our old signatures. So that was a signature of logos that we used to have. And again, it was appended. It wasn't part of the original signature. It was a secondary signature. So when we didn't want anymore, we just turned it off without having to edit the full signature. Sorry, if I just go back to the Christmas one. I go to manage. I go date and time. Okay, we've got a few minutes left. So again, here we say turn on in November, turn off here. And then we would actually enable the other signature at that particular point if this signature was actually turned on. So yeah, that's basically most of it there. You can then pull analytics if you've got signatures, so it tells you that it's in the last 7 days. So if I go the last 30 days, all emails, it's actually sent 2,287 emails out, and out of that, we've signed 1,398. We've got 3 templates, so you can actually start to pull a lot of information. And as you can see, these are different domains that it's actually been sending to, and emails by the day. So as you can see, it's giving you stats on how many, what's the highest time for emails. So at 9 o'clock, we've had 280 emails sent at that particular time, busy time of the day. And you can get like a lot of analytics from that stuff as well. I won't go into too much more, but yeah, there's a lot of information in here. And like I said, the signatures are very, very powerful. So there's 3 products that there are. There's the starter, which is a very basic, consistent email signature, which is just one signature. Okay, so how I showed you some of this stuff, some is in standard and some is in pro, and obviously there's some in starter, which is the basic. To be quite frank, most customers will go for standard. They used to only have one signature software, and it was the equivalent of standard, but with a couple of pro features. What they've done is they've just basically limited the amount of signatures in standard to, I think, 10, if I'm correct, or 5, I'll need to check, whereas pro is unlimited. But starter is generally designed if you only want one signature, you don't want to do banners or any of that type of stuff. Very, very, very basic. So how much is it going to cost? So you're looking at about $1.25 for the starter, okay, which gives you one signature template. That's the main difference, okay? You can still do banners and that, but you can't do rotating banners. And it's a little bit limited to what it can actually do. With the standard, this is basically giving you 10 signatures. Sorry, I said to you before, the Pro was the actual, the old one. It used to be $2.20 per user. It's now gone to $2.40, but they've actually given a lot more features for the extra 20 cents. And what they've done is they've limited to 10 signatures. For the standard, it's under $2 a user per month. So 10 users, you can set up your different departments and teams. You can manage your different banners for your things, and you're scheduling your signatures and banners. So this is most probably the most popular we find for small business. When people want a lot more information, such as being able to share V-cards, so that is a file that people can click on and actually import their Outlook card. You include feeds of your social media posts. You know how I said to you, not putting the social media links on your page, that's included on any of those, but this is your feeds coming back into your signature. So if you are posting into LinkedIn and you want that information in your signature, then you'd need to go to Pro. If you're going to use more than 10 signatures, you'll need to go to Pro. Also, Pro gives you a lot more advanced signature scheduling. That's another big thing as well. So the social media, access to audit log, you know, not a lot of people actually use those, so they're not really a lot of value. Again, the V cards, again, not a lot of people use them, but some people do. But the most important thing is, you know, the banner above your emails, the social media posts, the advanced signature scheduling, and the element of posts. And that will determine, realistically, if you're going to go down that path, which one you'd actually choose. If you did buy standard and you find that you need those extra features, we can do a pro rata upgrade. We can't do a downgrade, that's all. Okay, so that's the end of it. Appreciate your time. We've gone over a little bit, but we're doing a promo. I've actually worked with Exclaimer and asked them what we can do as part of the training session today. We will be doing free installation, setup, and basic training. That's valued between $200 to $500. We're going to do one free signature as well. So basically, it'll just be your current signature straight into Exclaimer. We'll do that free of charge. And the other advantage is they're going to give us 30 days free licenses. So if you sign up before the end of the month, you'll actually get September for free. So that'll save you, you know, $1.95 or $2.40 per user per month. That is only for the standard and the pro, not for the basic. But if you do want to go ahead, we just need to know before the end of month, and basically we just got to email orders at Sterling IT, and we can get that done. One thing that didn't get saved on this is there is one caveat. It is a minimum of 10 licenses. So it's either $24 a month or $19 a month, basically, so at a minimum. Okay, so I hope that was beneficial and you've picked up some information on that. But guys, if you've got any questions, just feel free to unmute and let me know.
Thanks, Mark. I've got no questions at the minute. Appreciate
okay. Problems. But if you do, just let us know, Alyssa. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah. All right, I'll do the 24th.
All right. Thanks very much. Thanks, Tide. Appreciate your time too. And yeah, if there's anything else, like I said, just send us through an email, either email myself or orders, and yeah, we'll basically give you that offer as well. I'll leave you to it. Have a great day. See you later.
Thanks, Mark.
No problems. Bye-bye.